Greetings, everyone from around the world. Welcome to Rush Racing, North America, Europe. I am your host, GameHawk, for today's race. Boy, this is going to be interesting. Today, for round 3 here in Season 6, and we're about to get going. We have a 100% race here in Silverstone with a reverse grid order. And here we go as both Spikes and Bananarama with the front line. And just like that, Bananarama is going to go up to the front. And look at the Mercedes. There's already a virtual safety car in effect as the Williams of Pitt went offline. And already a virtual safety car deployed. And Harold actually gets... How about that? Harold gets disqualified from the session, and it looks like he wasn't able to start off the line. Maybe his car didn't work or didn't go, so already we have our first disqualification or our first DNF of the race. And as we said, it is a 100% distance race, so we got 52 laps of Formula One action here. And it is shaping up to be very, very good. And with it being reverse grid, some of the fastest drivers are going to have to start in the back. And it looks like some of the drivers actually got a better launch than maybe some of the other drivers that we would expect to see. One in particular is definitely Merakis, where he's currently in 14th. He made up a lot of spots at the very beginning. Illyrian also made up a ton of spots. And you can see his green flag is back underway. DRS still not available here on the first lap. So you can see Bananarama is trying to get as big of a gap ahead of AQT in the Mercedes and see if he's going to be able to hold that lead, because once DRS gets open, that really opens the door for any and all moves. And especially the fact that we know that Silverstone can be a brutal track if you get it wrong. But these drivers are definitely not going to. With Merakis making an inside move, a great, maybe a little bit of an aggressive move there, but made the move nonetheless up the middle, or up the inside, I should say. And he moves up into 12th place. Illyrian as well is up into 9th after passing Joshua Barron. Just like that, Merakis going around the outside of Ricky. Actually, Ricky trying to stay there, but Merakis will be able to make it around. And now maybe a little bit of a mishap here at the front, as even Pool Diver is going to go around Project. Project had a fantastic race, at least in China. He had a fantastic qualifying. Did finish in the top 10. You can see maybe another moment there. Not entirely sure. He is really falling down the grid. But I'm not entirely sure, as AQT will go off. And now it says that Joshua Bear has left the session, so maybe a little bit of a disconnect issue there. See if we can get him back into the game. As right now the top 3, or sorry, I should say the top 6 are all still within DRS range. So there is a little bit of a danger of getting stuck in the DRS train, but it is lap 2. So we'll see. And actually, maybe the McLaren's going to make a move here. Is Spikes? No. You can see Spikes thought about it, but he chose not to. And we can go ahead and look at the details here and look at what tires all of our drivers started on. Actually, kind of a wide variety between the softs and the mediums, especially with Silverstone being a much faster track. That definitely a very forgiving track in my experience if you want to use the mediums and hards, but you can see that a lot of drivers opted for the softs, and I'm not necessarily surprised that a lot of the drivers that started in the back went to the soft tires because they wanted to get as fast as they could and get up through the grid. And ultimately that's what you want to do. It is kind of an interesting decision that Spikes actually did start on the hard compound. So that is actually going to be a factor, because you can see that he is keeping pace with the leaders. So ultimately, the longer we go into this race, those hard tires are definitely going to benefit him more. Maybe we're going to see a move here. Oh, looked like he was going to go for a move through the S's, but maybe not enough. Is now maybe here he'll be able to make a move in DRS. You can see he's right there. He is on the outside. And now Vide, maybe, is Vide going to try and make a move? No, he's not. And the Mercedes is going to be able to stay ahead. So already very, very tight, close racing. But now Vida's going to go on the outside of Spikes. Can he make it? They both make it through the first corner and then the second corner. And Vida is going to be able to take the position away. And Vida is kind of the newcomer that he wasn't in last season. But so far here in the few races that he's been in, he's actually had very, very strong and fast pace. Just mostly in, oh, and now we got a spin. Oh, the Mercedes of AQT locked up. And that will send Vida up into P2, but AQT will be able to ghost and save his position into P3. But that is really going to hurt him, as now he's not in DRS range. So now we'll see, is Spice going to go for an inside move? He will, and now look at that. Pit is also, they're 3 wide going out of the DRS zone, and there's contact. The Williams of Pit is in the grass. As now he will try and rejoin the section. He will. There is a caution. There is no safety car, but usually that is one of those scenarios. 3 into 1 usually never works out. And in this case, it benefited Spikes, as I believe it was him that went over, or that Pit was spun over. And it doesn't look like Spikes has any damage, so it does benefit him the most. As now, actually, Illyrian, who also started in the back, he's moved up all the way into P4. And even some of the other leaders like Merakis is up into P7. And even if we look here at the positions gained, both Illyrian and Merakis are at 9 positions gained. And you can see how fast they went up the grid. And, I mean, we're just now entering lap 5 of the race. So far, other than maybe a couple spins, so far here in the beginning laps of the race, not many huge incidents to speak of, and maybe a little bit of a move there. Can Low Pro make it stick? Can the do the mediums have a little bit more grip? Both Mercedes drivers fighting. It doesn't matter. Now we have a Williams out, and now that is Pitt, who I believe spun into sector 1. We'll see where he is. Yeah, it looked like he spun in sector 1 and then he retired out of the race. There is no safety car, so we will continue to race on, as now maybe a race for the lead is upcoming as Vida is chasing down Banana. Actually, before the battle begins, I want to make sure if we can get a chance and see if Joshua Bear is on. There he is. We'll reset him an invite, try and help. As Vi does have DRS, but it doesn't look like, yeah, he's not going to be able to make a move in that DRS zone, so he will stay behind. But we'll see what necessarily happens. I mean, Vide already here in the beginning parts has shown a lot of pace. Just like Illyrian and Merakis, he's climbed up a lot of places. He's climbed up 7 positions right now. And, I mean, he is right on the tail of Bananarama. And I think the thing is that they're both on mediums, so they're both basically on the same strategy for right now. So with having the exact same tires, it really just comes down to how much pace the driver has. And right now, I mean, right now, Vide is just basically right behind Banana. So it looks like maybe he does have DRS open, but it looks like he's probably going to save his battery for a better opportunity to overtake. And speaking of overtakes, Merakis takes advantage of the DRS and overtakes Pool Diver. Actually, we didn't mention Pool Diver's name in China. He wasn't there for that race. But so far, Pool Diver's also been racing very well. He raced well in Australia, and so far right now, he's in P6. So he's doing a very good job so far. Maybe running a little bit wide there, but I think everyone runs a little bit wide there every now and then. And in the course of 52 laps, you'll definitely just want to keep it clean. And now we'll see, once again, it looks like just through Sector 2, like so far, it looks like Vide has the stronger pace in Sector 1 and Sector 2, but it just doesn't look like he has that pace in Sector 3 that Banana does. He just has that little bit of an edge that lets him stay in the lead just for that 1 lap longer. And I think I am going to be very curious just to see how the strategies are going to go, because, I mean, for example, Spikes, he's on the hard compound. He is at least set for at least 10 more laps plus. But Illyrian, Merakis, and Pool Diver, who are on the softs, their window is definitely a lot more limited. That they obviously won't be able to go the same amount of distance that Spikes will be able to on the hards. I mean, if they were able to pull that off and they still had pace, I mean, more power to them. But from what we've seen, and especially combined with dirty air, I mean, it just may not really be possible to go that far. But we'll give credit to Spikes. Even though being on the hard compound, he's actually done a pretty good job keeping pace. I think that incident with Pitt definitely slowed him up, but being able to come out of that with no damage was probably the best thing for him. So now, wait, maybe here we have an overtaking opportunity. Vide, he is catching. Is he going to go for the move? He's going to go for the move on the outside. Can he make it stick? They're side by side, wheel to wheel. You can't get much closer, but Banana is able to hold on to the lead right now. That was fantastic racing from both Vide and Bananarama. And we will get our first penalty of the day from AQT. 3-second time penalty for track limits. And so far, good job. And now are we going to see a move here in Sector 1? Vide going to the inside once again, not enough. Still going side by side, maybe a little bit of wheel banging. Maybe the switch back for Vide. Can he make it? He will have DRS. They're still side by side. You can see how close they are. And now maybe, is there going to be a switch back? There will be a dive bomb from Bananarama to the inside. They're still side by side all the way through Sector 1, through to Sector 2. And Vide is just going to be able to get a little bit more grip. And Vide will retake, well, actually not retake, he will take the lead here in the Silverstone GP. That was absolutely beautiful racing from the Alpine and the McLaren. And I mean, that you can't really hope for much more in terms of racing. I mean, you couldn't get much closer without there being contact, but somehow they make it work. Still within DRS zone, so Banana will be able to keep pace, and that will definitely help if he wants to be able to re-overtake and get the lead. And I mean, so far, maybe the softs are starting to wear off a little bit. That we saw Merakis and Illyrian have blazing fast pace to get up there. Now we have a caution, and it actually got cleared up. So it looks like maybe there was a moment with AQT, but it looks like it got cleared up very quickly. But we saw that blazing pace originally from Illyrian and Merakis. You saw how many places they gained, but maybe the softs are starting to wear off a little bit. We haven't seen as much pace as Illyrian has been trying to catch up to Spikes. And maybe starting on the hard compound actually may be a viable strategy. And Project in the Alpine does get a 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. And so far, actually, now look at this, as Vide is starting to put a little bit bigger of a gap, as that is not going to help, as Banana does go off the track, but he does get on without getting an advantage, so it does not count as a penalty right now. And he's just barely in DRS range. He does get it, but it looks like Vide, he's really trying to put as much space between him and Banana. You can even look at positions gained. Vide with 8 positions gained, meaning that he really started in the middle of the field and then was able to work his way up to the front. And actually, we'll see our first pit. That Illyrian, actually, well, shouldn't say our first pit, but Illyrian and Pool Diver will both pull into the pits, and both of them were on that soft compound, so both of them will immediately pull into the pits. So maybe a sign that the soft tires are going not maybe as according to plan. Maybe they wanted it to last a little bit longer. We do see a little bit of a difference here. Pool Diver pitted for the mediums. Illyrian put on the hard compound So we'll see how that ends up going. And now, look at this. You can just see the raw pace that Vide has, as now he's over 2 seconds ahead of Banana. Maybe the mediums are starting to start to wear, not falling off the car necessarily, but they are definitely probably starting to show wear. But that is definitely going to benefit Vide, because if he's able to have that kind of space, he's going to be able to just kind of sit on his ERS, do what and play his game. But now the situation got worse for Banana, as now his teammate Spikes, who did start on the hard compound, is now chasing down his teammate. And now it looks like just like that, he's going to go for a move, and he's going to get it done for right now. And yeah, he's going to be able to get it done. And just like that, Spikes will go up into P2 and overtake his teammate. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to Banana. He had such great pace when he was in first place ahead of Vide. And then once Vide passed him, it looked like he maybe lost a lot of the pace. So now you see Sparko, actually a new driver in the Williams, will go ahead and pit. We're starting to see a lot of different drivers pit, like Olizzi and AQT, who are also on the medium and the soft. So we'll see what tires, what compound they choose to go on. And they actually all go for the hard compound. So maybe the hard compound is what we're looking for. And I think this is going to be kind of a big question as well, is when is Meraki Dawn going to pit? Because he is really taking those softs much longer than Illyrian, Pool Diver, and Olizzi did. So he's probably the one who's probably going to last the longest, unless Project goes further or Ricky goes further. But you can just kind of see the difference. Just like even in 10 laps, you can see that the medium just has that little bit more pace, even as they're both wearing, because you can see his low pro is now within DRS range of Meraki Dawn. And now, wait, movement back here as the Racing Bull is going to get it done. Scaly Money, or Scaly Money, I apologize if I mispronounce your name, but Money, and now they're going to go in the pits. So both the Racing Bull and the Alpine, he's going to slam on the brakes, and he doesn't get the penalty. Good job there. So Money's able to overtake the Alpine, and that does help, but Freed will go up into P6. So I am interested to see how this goes. Ricky will move up into P7. So now we'll see who moves out of the pits first. It looked like a faster start, and oh my goodness, you can see how close that was. And they both go on actually no, Money goes on the hard compound, Project goes on the mediums. So this is going to be a very interesting pit exit, as they will both rush back onto the track. Sparko will overtake into P10. And now already Baby Project going for an inside move. There's contact, and he's around. Project goes around with after contact. He'll get out of the way. There is a caution, but he's going to lose those places as 2A and AQT will overtake. And that is not what you want to do coming out of pits, the pit exit. He saw an opportunity, tried to go up the inside of Money. The space just wasn't there. Clips him and spins around, but he is able to keep going, and it didn't look like he had any damage. At least, yeah, it doesn't look like he has any damage to his wing, so that will benefit Project, that he won't have to pit again. And so far we've been keeping tabs on this battle. So far for second place, as Spikes has been slowly making his way to the front, or sorry, not to the, well, toward the front, but mostly towards second place. So actually, and look at that, Money actually will move up a place into P10 over Sparko. But Vide able now is at a 5-second gap ahead of Banana, as Spikes is just continually trying to rein in his teammate. He originally overtook, Banana came back. So it's just a battle between the two McLaren teammates. And I'm still, in my opinion, I am still shocked that Meraki Dawn is still, I'm very curious to see when Meraki Dawn will pit, because I am also curious at how much wear those tires have. But he's been doing a good job so far. He's stayed ahead of Low Pro. He's done his job, and he's just taking those soft tires as long as he can. So already interesting. And now maybe a movement, and is he gonna make it? Spikes around the outside again, and he will go back up into P2. Neither one of them are going to pit, so they'll keep going for another round. So now we'll see. I mean, this happened before. We saw Spikes overtake for second place. So now Merakis will finally enter the pits, and the final stop is 13 laps on those soft tires. A great job by Merakis, and we'll see what tire compound he goes on to. He's actually going to go one of the mediums instead of the hard compound. So an interesting choice there. Ricky Stanicki up into P6 as he is also on those soft tires. And now that is definitely a battle where we are going to be watching that. Merakis will fall down to P9. Actually, now all the way down to P11, so definitely lost a couple spots. But Illyrian is probably in the best position out of the main leaders. And he has already done his stop. And you can see that everyone other than those top 6 have pitted. So if you're probably Illyrian is probably in the best position, as actually it will increase to 2 stops as AQT will pit again. And it looks like, yeah, Merakis will actually overtake Lizzie and go up into P11 as well. And now we have a caution. It was a caution in Sector 3. I didn't necessarily see anything. Not entirely sure what that caution was. It looked like both McLarens kept going. No one had any issues. And the things will stay the same. They are still staying out there, so I guess we will see. And you can even see, and now just like that, oh, he fakes. I genuinely thought Ricky was about to pit. Instead, he will keep going, and he's going to make it 14 laps on those soft tires, as he's able to hold on ahead of Illyrian, but Illyrian has definitely got the faster pace, and he is closing in. And I think if you are realistically on the mediums, this has been so far a great stint for the mediums, especially the leaders, because it's definitely helping Vide, where he's able to just kind of lead, do whatever he wants, make his own game plan. But you can actually see Banana was 5 seconds behind Vide. When Spikes overtook Banana, now Spikes is 3 seconds behind Vide, so he's already making up a little bit more time than Banana was. And you can see the gap right there. That's not too far of a gap. Oh, so you're saying the caution was the Alpine spinning a bit. Okay. I did not catch that, so all I saw was that yellow, and then both McLarens go through, and we all know how perfect this game is, so unfortunately we can't catch every single camera angle, but I appreciate that. And now, is it gonna be? No. I thought it was gonna be Ricky going into the pits. Maybe he will now. Still not. This is going to make it 15 laps on those soft tires, as Illyrian does overtake into P6, but he's 11 seconds down from P5. As already it seems like these drivers have settled somewhat into a groove, as we all know that 100% race is a very, I mean, I have done my fair share of 100% races, and they can be brutal sometimes. I mean, it's just kind of, if you're not really battling, if you're just kind of driving by yourself, it can get very mundane very quickly. But if these drivers want to win, they got to keep their focus all 52 laps, all at 100% distance, if they want to be able to win. And especially, I think that this race will definitely mean the most for Vide, because, I mean, in Australia, Vide got spun and taken out, and I mean on the very first lap, and he was out and he didn't claim points. And then China once again didn't have the best performance as well in China. So it really feels like Silverstone is the biggest opportunity for him to get a massive amount of points, not only for himself in the drivers championship, but also for Alpine as a whole. Because I mean, Project came in the top 10 as well and got great points for Alpine last week in China as well. So you never know. I mean, you always have the drivers championship, and then you have the constructors as well to think about. And now we'll finally see them go into the pits. Fried will put on the hard compound. Ricky is in the pits right now. We'll see where he goes. Fried will fall down to P11. Ricky is currently P12, and now he's going to slap on the medium. So a good job by Ricky to get 15 laps out of those soft tires. But now maybe a little bit of pressure, as now Pool Diver is not going to be able to hold on Merakis around the inside on those fresher mediums. And he's going to be able to move up. And now, a little bit, maybe Sparko. And now he's going to make a move, and he's going to hit him. He hits Pool Diver. Pool Diver slightly spins. He's going to be able to recover and keep going. And that ended up hurting Sparko more than it did Pool Diver. And he's going to pull the inside, and actually he will give the position back. And Sparko did suffer damage to his front wing. He did give the position back to Pool Diver, but that definitely hurt. And now, now we see some of the leaders can actually look at this. Both Low Pro and Banana will pit. So they will go ahead and pit. Banana will swap onto the hard compound. We'll see what he switches to. Yes, he will also switch to the hard compound. Joshua Bear will get a 3-second time penalty for, not speeding in the pit lane, track limits violations. So Illyrian up into P3, Money up into P4, Merakis into P5, and those three are the leaders of the people who had pit earlier. So the only two that have not pit yet in this race are Spikes and Vide. And I mean, you could see the gap there that, I mean, Vide is 3.5 seconds ahead of Spikes, but then Spikes is almost 20 seconds ahead of Illyrian. You can see that Spikes is just now entering Sector 3, and as he's doing that, Illyrian is just coming through the middle of Sector 2. So you can see there's a good bit of distance between them, and I think that end up will benefiting them if they want to be able to pit. But something that does hurt is that Silverstone does have the slowest pit limit speed on the calendar, and that really hurts, mostly because you just don't have the same amount of, and I mean, you might think, well, I mean, in American terms, you only got 50, it's 50 miles an hour to 37 miles an hour here. Doesn't seem like a big difference, but when the pit lane is as long as it is here in Silverstone, it can really make a massive difference in terms of how long your pit stop is going to be. And I mean, we will realistically see how far they'll go. I think for Spikes, it was an absolutely fantastic call to go onto the hard tires. If you, especially the fact that he is keeping pace and he's in second place ahead of some of these other drivers. And I think for Vide, this has gone exceptionally well as well for Vide. Being on the medium compound, he is losing a little bit of time to Spikes, but in all fairness, I'm not entirely sure what those mediums are at, but I can't imagine those mediums are exactly fresh anymore. But he is doing a very good job of staying ahead, playing his own game, and he's really put himself in prime position to win this race. And I really think that this race will be decided when Vide and Spikes choose to pit, because I really think that is going to be kind of the turning point of who could possibly win this race. And now maybe Banana's going to make a move. He's going to go to the inside of Meraki Dawn. They are side by side. They're keeping it clean, both on track. Still going. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it. A little bit of a lockup from Meraki Dawn. They're still wheel banging a little bit. And I mean, they are not giving up anything. You can see Meraki Dawn is still right on his tail. But Banana for right now will hold and overtake Meraki Dawn on the hard compound over the medium. Sparko will actually move up into P10 as well. So I am curious to see if Banana is going to be able to hold on to this position, or if Meraki Dawn is going to have a fight back. Not right now, at least. And we'll see how Sector 2 goes through. I guess Sector 2 will be the real place. See where this will go, because now it's going to be very interesting, because you can see how close Alizzi is to Meraki Dawn. So there is a possibility both Meraki Dawn and Alizzi get DRS, and because of how close they are, they could both pass Banana, but it's going to really matter how close they are coming out of the S's. And Pool Diver will get his first penalty for track limits violation. So DRS open, we'll see. And no, they're not going to be able to make a move. Maybe didn't get as much of a good run as they probably would have liked. But so far, still in 5th place stays Banana. Meraki Dawn still in 6th. Alizzi still in 7th. And Vide and Spike still also have not pit, and that is 20 laps on the mediums for Vide and 20 laps of hard for Spikes. For still no changes, at least up and down the grid. I mean, this still really seems like the battle. And as we switch, Banana loses it going around the turn. And Meraki Dawn and Alizzi will go up and move into P5 and P6. And that is heart-wrenching. If you are Banana and you are leading right there, and that is really gonna hurt. As now Alizzi will try and catch up to Meraki Dawn and hold the pace, but still Spikes and Vide going, running it back. And we'll see how they go. I mean, they've done a great job. I'm not entirely sure. We don't have the data to show what their tires are at, but if they've been able to go this long on the hards and on the mediums, they're obviously doing a great job of managing it or just working within the tire wear. But you can see that Vide has lost a little bit of time to Spike. So, I mean, it's still just a question of... It's still really... I mean, it's still just really a question of when these two are going to pit, because... we can even go to here. They're the only two drivers who have not stopped in this race. So it's still a big question of when they're going to stop and what tire they switch to as well. Once again, I mean, every time we look at them, just sending it one more round as they continue once again. But Spikes is now almost approaching DRS range. And if he catches Vide, that may be Vide's signal to go ahead and pit, because, I mean, there hasn't been as much of a change between the last few laps I mean, between Illyrian and Spikes, Illyrian made up a little bit of time, but he's not making up a significant amount of time. But like I said, it's really going to matter. And now we have a retirement. Sparko will retire in the pits, I believe. Yeah, he's going to retire in the pits. So that will save us from a safety car. But we lose our third driver of today's race. And actually, so far today, and as I say that, Spikes does move up into DRS range. So he may have DRS range. And we'll see if he's going to make up any significant amount of ground on Vide. But so far, I actually will say is that we almost had a full grid for the start of this race. So a very good turnout here for Silverstone. And there's the choice. Vide will head into the pits and will slow down just in time. So we'll see what compound he goes to. Spikes will retake the lead. He actually did start. If we go to the position change, Spikes actually did start in first place to start the race. So Vide actually will go to the hard compound. So he does go to the hard compound, but now here's the question, and Illyrian is going to go ahead of Vide. Money as well. Here comes Merakis and Elizzy. Will Vide get out of the pits in time? It's going to be close. Can they go? They're side by side. And who's going to be it? Oh my goodness. Merakis. I mean, I think that lockup made my heart skip a beat, but that lockup is what's going to able to, he was able to stay in P4 for now, but the DRS will allow Vide to go around and reclaim P4. And that's very good for Vide, really only losing 3 positions. And now it's really going to come down to when Spikes wants to pit, because more than likely, everyone is going to be doing a 2-stop. If Vide could somehow pulls off the 1-stop, there is a realistic chance that he could win this race on the 1-stop. But there's still just, maybe we'll see how it goes for the rest of the race. Project Race will get a 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. And actually, we haven't seen a whole lot of them. Only 4 drivers with track limits violations, and a good job so far from the drivers as well, because 52 laps is a lot of laps. And for anyone else, and now I saw a lockup once again from Merakis. I thought he spun at first from the camera angle, but it was just a lockup, and he's going to be he's still going. So, but he does fall out of DRS range away from Vide. Vide having the freshest tires out of everyone. So we'll see. Now the biggest question, when is Spikes going to peel into the pits? He is losing a little bit of time, as Illyrian is slowly starting to catch up, not in huge amounts, but he has been making up seconds over the course of the race. So I'm very curious to see when Spikes is going to pit, because I mean, we saw with Vide, they were almost 20 seconds ahead of Illyrian, and you saw that how that pit limiter speed, it really messes with you. And now there's a retirement, and yeah, 2A retires. He actually retires from the race when he was behind Spikes. It shouldn't realistically start a safety car. No, it won't. It also won't trigger a virtual safety car, as we have our 4th retirement of the race. And we still have 15 drivers. Vide will go ahead and set the fastest lap of the race. And I mean, now here's going to be an interesting battle, as now Money is chasing down Illyrian. Over the course of the race, Money has been chasing him down, and now here's maybe a real opportunity. We'll see. He's probably not going to make, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move here. He thought about it. you realistically thought about it. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, in terms of battery, it looks like they have that battery. Now there's a safety car. Safety car deployed, and that is probably going to be Spike's dream come true. That Spikes is going to get a free pit stop as Illyrian. I think I'm really going to be curious to see how many drivers are going to take advantage, because Vide, I can't imagine Vide is going to pit being on such new hard tires. And actually that helps him if he wants to pull off the one stop. But now we'll see. Spikes will move in, and actually Joshua Bear will retire. So both Ferraris are out. Both Ferraris and both Williams are out. So Spikes will go into the pits for his pit stop, and we will see what he pits. It looks like he's going to put on the mediums, and yeah, he will. So now you can see Illyrian. Oh, okay, Illyrian will pull into the pits. Money will pull into the pits as well. So that means Vide will go out. But now here's the question. Is Spikes going to retain the lead, or is Vide going to take the lead? We'll see. You can see on the orange dot on the map, and it will Vide get around. He's going to use his speed to the line. Vide takes the lead. He beats Spikes as Spikes was coming out of the pit lane, and Vide will retain the lead and overtake. A great job from Vide. Freed will move up into P3, having not pit either. And you can see a large amount of drivers had pit. Illyrian, Money, Meraki Dawn, Alizzi, Lopro, Banana, Project Race. Pool Diver did not. And actually Stanicki will as well. We'll see Wildcat will as well. And then we will see if AQT will. That would basically be the whole lobby. Yeah, AQT will as well. So the entire lobby pitted except for Vide, Freed, and Pool Diver. I am kind of shocked that Pool Diver didn't. I mean, Pool Diver being on 17 lap old medium tires, I am surprised that he didn't pit. But yeah, very interesting. You can see that basically everyone in the top 10 except for Pool Diver have very good, very fresh tires. I mean, Freed would be the only exception, but we've seen these hard tires go almost roughly for I mean, like, I want to say they'd go for 30 laps, but I mean, you saw how long. It didn't look like Spikes was planning on pitting anytime soon until that safety car came out. So I guess we'll see how long these hard tires can realistically last, because I mean, Spikes and Vide are both on the one stop. Everyone else is on the two stop. And still with just about half the race. Just about half the race to go. Pool Diver will get a 10-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag, as he does peel into the pits, so he will fall down the grid. As the safety car will continue more than likely here for lap 28, and then we will continue on for probably another lap. We will probably restart the race going into lap 30. So far, just about 30 laps done here in Silverstone. The result is by no means decided. And I was actually kind of curious to see, because at the very beginning, I was curious to see if we were going to see huge DRS trains form, because that is something we saw happen in China. We saw these massive DRS trains. I mean, almost 7 or 8 drivers all behind each other, just not able to pass because everyone had DRS. And I thought maybe we would see that here, but so far, actually, we haven't. We haven't really seen any DRS trains form. And, oh, that's not going to help. I don't know if Vide did that on purpose, or I don't know what happened there, but Vide goes off the course. And now Spike, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with Vide. But maybe a little bit of chaos. It wouldn't be Rush Racing North America, Europe if there wasn't a little bit of chaos ensuing. And actually, I do see your question about what caused the safety car. I am personally actually not entirely sure. I did not see any crashes on track, so I'm not entirely sure if it was triggered by 2A's retirement, which he did retire on track, so I don't know if that is what triggered it, but I am not entirely sure what triggered the safety car. But it is here, and we will in fact go for another lap. More than likely, we'll restart the race going into lap 30, which will leave us at least... Sorry, I had to make sure that I did math right. At least, I mean, if we want to lowball it, at least 13 more laps. But I'll be honest, math was never my strength, and that's... Math was definitely not my strength, and that is why I did not go to college for math-related classes. So far, you can see the whole grid has formed up, so we will restart going into lap 30, which will leave us 13 laps of racing left to do here in Silverstone. And realistically, as with all the safety cars, it's going to come down to how good of a start Vide is able to get. I mean, we have seen races here in Silverstone before. There is a real possibility of getting, I mean, for lack of a better term, getting shot out of a cannon, where I have seen a ton of drivers basically just zoom past everyone like they're in slow motion, and they can instantly jump out of DRS range. So I am curious to see, and like I said, safety car in this lap. So you can see now Vide will take control of the grid. And actually Illyrian, and actually I went to look at this before, and actually Freed has actually made up the most positions, making up 15 positions. As now he's currently P3, Vide in P8, Illyrian P4, and he's moved up 9 positions. Money up 10, Meraki Dawn up 10, Alizzi up 7. So Illyrian starting toward the back of the grid, starting toward 15. So now, and it looks like Vide got a good start, maybe a little bit of a wobble there, but he did get the great start that he wanted as the race is back underway. And I mean, look at this. He is almost out of DRS range right out of the gate. DRS not enabled for the first lap, but that is probably the best start that you could have hoped if you're Vide. And now maybe a move. Is Meraki Dawn going to do it? He's going to pull it off. And he pulls off the move going around Money, and actually even more impressive. And actually Money's going to fight back as they're side by side. Now there's contact. Money gets tagged. So Money will fall down to P8. A little bit of a tag there. And now another tag, and he loses an end plate. And now he spins. And now that may cause another safety car. We'll see. But that is unfortunate for the Racing Bull of Money, as getting tagged is going to send him around. And now Spikes is getting, actually Spikes did his best, as now he's actually climbed his way back up, as now he's starting to chase down Vide. Freed is trying to hold his ground, and now Illyrian maybe a little bit of a wheel tap, and now there's more contact. The other Racing Bull goes around. Illyrian tags out Freed, as Freed goes around the same sort of way his teammate did. So now he falls down just ahead of his teammate. Both Racing Bulls in the top 5 now fall down to the bottom of the grid. And I am inclined to agree with chat. Maybe NAEU has gotten out of hand, but I don't know if we can ever confidently say that it was in hand to begin with. And now even looking at this, I think what's more impressive is that Meraki Dawn is currently racing with no setup. I don't know if he did not add his before the race and he wasn't able to, but he has had no setup and he is still up into P4. Just kind of shows the talent. And I mean, say the same thing for most of these drivers. All these drivers like Vide, Illyrian, Meraki Dawn, Alizzi, who have all not had the best of starts. I mean, starting at the back of the grid. So, I mean, I don't know. It just kind of really shows the raw pace that some of these drivers have. And so far, maybe a little bit of a DRS train forming as Meraki Dawn is still within very close range of Illyrian, but Lizzie has been making progress and trying to pass Meraki Dawn as well. I mean, right now you have a Haas P3 and a Haas P5. I already know Verstappen is very proud and happy, even though he's usually commentating this race. I'm not entirely sure where he is, but I hope that he is doing well wherever he is. But he is probably very pleased with where his drivers are currently positioned. It's still roughly a close battle at the front. Spikes has stayed in place. He does have a 3-second time penalty for track limits, but he is staying within DRS range. And I mean, realistically, that's all you want to do, because you never know really if anything can happen. Oh, maybe. Oh, you can see Alizzi thought about it. You can see Alizzi thought about maybe making a move on the inside, but not enough. As you can go on board with Alizzi as he's chasing down Meraki Dawn. So now with DRS enabled, and I mean, this is kind of what you see with a DRS train. It's just, even though you have DRS and you have battery, it's just not enough. It's just having that much DRS. And I mean, Illyrian has also done a good job of managing his own battery to be able to stay ahead despite the DRS advantage that they have. And so far, really, all the positions have stayed the same. Because now, I mean, it's getting really close. The Spikes may not have gotten DRS there. If he didn't get DRS, that really could help Vide. It doesn't look like he did. No, he did not. So Spikes did not get DRS there. So Vide right now has broken DRS range from Spikes in P2. But Spikes in P2 has done a good job. He is still 2.5 seconds ahead of Illyrian. So now with DRS maybe broken from P1 to P2, maybe this will be the opportunity for Vide to really make that one-stop count. He will go through. I'm not entirely sure if he did get DRS. It was very close. We'll see if it opens. It does not. He did not get the DRS. And you can see the line of cars there. You can see there is really not as much separation between the leaders as you would think. But so far, really, no one else has been able to really make a move. So far as we are at lap 34 out of 52. We're closing in. Still, everyone is roughly in the same position. And I mean, you can see the biggest gainers, or the ones that have the most overtakes, Illyrian and Meraki Dawn both, or Meraki Dawn with 12, Illyrian with 10, Alizzi with 9, and then Vide, who's in the lead with 8. They did a very good job despite the reverse order. they've done a very good job. They got through the grid very quickly, and then they were able to hold their position despite even the safety car. And actually, you can see a little bit of a fight going on in the backfield as both Ricky and Freed are both side by side. So maybe a little bit of a fight here. And we'll see if anything happens with the DRS range or DRS. Because now it's still just a question. I mean, you can see all of the leaders here, they are within a second of each other. I mean, Merakis, Alizzi, and Lopro, they're all within a second of each other, but just because of the DRS train, there's really nothing you can do to try and overtake. As Banana will get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That'll be his first penalty, I believe. And I mean, once again, sort of like in the first half of the race, it seems like right now a lot of the drivers have settled into some sort of a rhythm. Doesn't seem like any of the drivers are in need of pitting right now, so there is a possibility that at least the two stoppers can definitely go to the end. I think there would be a little bit of a question mark if a safety car were to come out within the next 5 laps of whether or not drivers would take that, but still not entirely sure. You can see even, I mean, still a little bit of a gap forming between Merakis and Illyrian, as probably Illyrian's trying to break DRS range from Merakis. Because I mean, all that really takes to break a DRS chain is just for one driver to lose DRS, and that can instantly break the chain. And it doesn't really matter which driver it is. All it takes is just one driver to lose DRS, and basically everything can fall apart in an instant. I mean, you can see, once again, like I said, DRS not really able to do anything. Because, I mean, you can see that we talked about it earlier. I was wondering when it was going to happen, but it looks like the DRS train has entered Silverstone and is happily not leaving anytime soon. I mean, from P3 down to P7 is where the DRS train is. And Vide so far, actually, give credit to Vide. Vide has done his best job, as now he just about has a 3-second gap over Spikes. And Illyrian is trying his best to close down the gap to Spikes, but even though he has, hasn't made as much progress as he would have liked. As AQT will get his second penalty of the race, I believe. And yes, that is his second penalty of the race. So I will say, though, still not that many penalties. And I mean, like I said, with a 100% distance race, the race can really start to feel just like a mundane fundamental rhythm. So you can kind of lose focus, and that is really when you get a lot of penalties. But so far, our drivers have actually done a very good job of keeping it at least clean and somewhat clean and on track. And now, wait, Merakis is maybe... it does look like... I mean, you can see that, like, Merakis has a great Sector 1. But it just looks like he loses time through Sector 2 and the start of Sector 3. And he's just not able to close up that gap to Illyrian. Probably that he would want. Yeah, I mean, you can see it right there. I mean, that is the example. Now Freed will get his first 3-second time penalty of the race. And actually, look at this. Maybe a little bit of action. We'll see. There is another DRS train somewhat forming behind Wildcat, but maybe a move is going to be made here. As now, wait, is Freed going to go for the move? He thought about it. You can see he is right on the back of the Mercedes. Now it looks like he's going to go for the move. Late on the brakes, and now there's a little bit of contact. Both drivers are able to maintain. Oh, that could have been disastrous. A little bit of contact, but both drivers are able to make it through. Be a little bit of a lockup there from Freed. I mean, you can see he is pushing those hard tires to the limit that he possibly can. And you can see a very good job from Vide to keep the lead. He's been consistent, keeping a 3-second lead over Spikes. You can see Merakis there in P4. I mean, you could just kind of see he just on that default setup. There's really only so much that you can do until the pace really starts to hurt you, and especially not with as much battery. You can see that a lot of these drivers don't have a lot of battery, as they've all been just trying to use it, trying to gain positions. But there's really only so much you can do in a DRS train, as we will enter lap 39. Here out of 52. Still not so much action. Oh, that camera angle kind of made me a little bit worried. And now, wait, look at this. So Wildcat will actually go into the pits, and now we have a retirement. So I believe Freed pulled into the pits, and Freed will retire in the pits as well. Wildcat will peel in for the medium compound. I believe that will make it his third stop. Yeah, his third stop of the race. But because of Freed retiring in the pits, that will not trigger a safety car, I don't believe. So now down to 13 drivers, and we will stay green for now. And not much has yet to change. And it really looks like right now, if everything stays as it is, Vide and Spikes are going to complete the race, complete a 100% race, pulling off the one stop. I mean, give credit to them. I know for a fact that I would not be able to do that. That I would definitely not be able to pull off the one stop in a 100% race. But definitely a good job to them. Yeah, once again, I mean, we've said before, actually, we will see AQT pull into the pits. I believe that is, we can go ahead and check. Yeah, and actually, that is his fourth stop of the race. And I mean, Vide and Spikes are going for a one stop. That was AQT's fourth pit stop of the race. And I mean, we can actually look here. Actually, first, you can look at the fastest lap. Fastest lap so far goes to Money. And he's actually about exactly a second, actually a little bit more than a second, with the fastest lap. And I think just his contact that caused him to spin really was just unfortunate, the fact that that happened. But he does have the fastest lap for right now. And you can see the gap to the leader. The gap to the leader, 3 seconds for Spikes, Illyrian 5 seconds, Merakis Don 5 seconds as well. It just seems like the DRS train is just, it's really keeping that pack right there from P3 down to P7. It's just keeping that pack right there without them able to move. They aren't really able to do much else. And now maybe a little bit of a gap close. We'll see. Actually, this is probably the closest gap that we have seen from Merakis to Illyrian. So maybe this will be an opportunity. You can see that Merakis is saving as much battery as he can. He definitely has a battery advantage. But I think this is just where the default setup really just doesn't help. The default setup really hurts going through the S's. And I think that is, yeah, and you can see how quickly that gap goes back up. And I mean, it just seems like the default setup is just really not helping Merakis as he keeps trying to catch up, but is just unable to do so. And I mean, so far also, it doesn't look like Illyrian is going to be able to, I mean, he hasn't really made much progress. At one point, he was 1.6 seconds behind Spikes, but now that gap has increased to 2 seconds. So it looks like Spikes is maintaining his lead over Illyrian even as... Oh, and now, wait, never mind. There was a moment. Spikes had a moment in Sector 2, and just like that, Illyrian is in P2. Maybe that was the opportunity, as Merakis is going to go around. And now we just add one more to the DRS, the DRS train. As now Spikes falls down into P4. He was in P2, spun in Sector 2. As now all of a sudden Illyrian is now up into P2. But now here's the question. Is Spikes going to be able to make a move? Will he make a move? He thought about it, but he's not going to be able to. So, I mean, maybe I guess just add one more to the caravan that has formed. What we'll see is now maybe Illyrian is right behind Spikes. Maybe a little bit of a tap there. You can't get much closer without just wrecking Spikes. He does back off. And now it looks like the DRS train has been broken, as Merakis is currently still within DRS range of Illyrian, but Spikes is now 1.2 seconds behind Merakis. So now DRS open for Illyrian. Lopro will actually overtake Project. But now this is the one sector that is going to matter the most. And honestly, Sector 2, in my personal opinion, is probably actually one of my favorite sectors in all of Formula 1. And we're about to see how well it's going to work. You can see that Illyrian and, or sorry, not Illyrian, Illyrian and Spikes roughly have the same amount of ERS, but the only difference is that Illyrian has DRS as well. And it looks like that battery is going to help Spikes to maintain that lead for right now. So you can see how well Spikes is maintaining that, but obviously Illyrian just being so close behind, and even Lopro and Project now catching up. And even with the default setup, Merakis is still just on the outskirts of DRS. He's trying to stay there with Illyrian as he's worked his way up into P3. Vide's still now 7 seconds ahead of Illyrian, and now they're side by side. Still side by side. Who got the DRS? Oh, Lizzie got the DRS, so he's gonna go. So now here comes Low Pro on the inside. Is he gonna make it 3 wide? It's almost 3 wide. And is Low Pro gonna be able to hold on? He will, I think, and he will. Low Pro will move up into P5. So now we'll see if Low Pro can help chase down a Lizzie as the back and forth continues. And now I don't think these drivers could get any closer. Both Alpine and the McLaren going off the track there. So now we'll see if Low Pro is going to be able to catch up to a Lizzie. He doesn't have as much ERS, but he does have DRS. Maybe not as much. Ricky will get his first 3-second time penalty of the race. And I mean, the fact that they just keep kind of playing musical chairs now is kind of crazy. Actually, originally it looked like Merakis didn't get DRS, but now he's actually worked his way back. As I mean, he is trying to slowly rein in Illyrian. I mean, these two, you could say that you can consider them rivals. Definitely rivals on track and rivals off the track as well. But these two both have a grudging respect for each other. As I mean, every single position matters. But especially like we said before with Haas, the Haas drivers probably are feeling very, very good right now. Illyrian in P2, a Lizzie in P4. And that is really going to help in the constructor standings. Making sure that everything is working. I apologize for those brief pause screens. But making sure that everything is working. And actually, you can see that Merakis is now 4 seconds ahead of a Lizzie. So the packs have definitely separated for sure. And actually going ahead and looking at the current standings right now for Division 1. As we enter into lap 46 out of 52, as we are nearing the end, you can see just how close the drivers are getting together. I mean, as we get down to the end of the race, you just got to give basically every last bit that you have to try and make up more positions. So starting looking at the constructors after China, right now Red Bull is in first with 56. Haas is in second with 55. The V-Carb, the Racing Bulls in third with 45. Ferrari in fourth with 32. So really, a lot of these top drivers did not have a very good race. You see both Williams are out. They will not score any points. Both Ferraris are out as well. And a Racing Bull is not only out of the race, but also down into P13 because of other incidents that have happened. So right now, if you're Haas, this is probably the best scenario that you could possibly have. Both drivers very high in points. Merakis right now in P3 will still score points for Red Bull, but it definitely won't be as many points as Wildcat, his teammate, is still in P2, still catching down, or trying to chase down AQT in the McLaren. And now, wait, look at that. Maybe a little bit of a switcheroo as Banana will overtake his teammate. Project Race will also overtake Spikes. So Spikes, and now Spikes is off the track. Oh, he's able to save it. And he will keep going. Oh, that could have been disastrous if he crashed. But right now, if things stand, both McLarens will score points for their team for the first time this season. Both Alpine drivers will score points for, especially for Vide. that Vide will, if he brings home the win, he will definitely score a lot of points for Alpine. And actually, now look at this. This looks like it's probably one of the best runs that Merakis has had. You can just see how much he's pushing. You can see him pushing that default setup to its absolute limits. And I mean, there's not much else that you can really do, as Vide will start lap 48. I mean, Vide has this race comfortably in hand unless something crazy is going to happen. So far, Vide has dominated this race almost from start to finish. The only reason it wasn't start to finish was just because he started in the middle of the grid. I believe, if we can go ahead and check. Yeah, he's gained 8 positions. He started in P9, so he did start in the top 10, but still working his way through the middle of the field and getting to the front. That still benefits him the most. I mean, he has 8 positions gained. Illyrian 11. Merakis 13, Alizzi with 10, even Lopro getting up 3 positions as well. So, I mean, these drivers work their way through the field, and I mean, you can't do much else other than doing your job and racing your best. Actually, speaking of which, we can go ahead and look at the current standings, especially after round 2, as right now, as the standings stand, Merakis is currently leading the Drivers' Championship with 47 points. Money is actually in second place. Money, if things stand as they are, Money won't score any points in this week, but he is still right now in second place with 38. Alizzi actually has 32, so if he finishes 4th, or if he is able to finish 3rd if something happens, then he's already going to have a very good position and move up into P2. Illyrian is in P5 behind Kellogg's Rule. Kellogg's Rule was not in this race. He was the other Kick Sauber in China, and he wasn't able to race today, but Illyrian with a P2 finish will definitely help. But obviously the biggest help is definitely Vide, as Vide has 11 points, in which he scored 11 points in last week's race. And I mean, he needed this. He definitely needed a race, especially after Australia, and then maybe a tad disappointed in China, just because I know for a fact that he wanted to win. But I mean, he came out and he showed up today. And I guess now the question is just how much of this grid will remain the same. I mean, you can see Merakis, he's trying, but it doesn't look like, if everything stays as it is, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch up to Illyrian. Maybe the default setup really hindering him from doing that. And so far, this is still the group to watch, as Lopro has been trying to chase down. Banana did break DRS range away from Project, so now it's just those 2 drivers that have DRS range, or sorry, DRS activated behind Alizzi. So as Vide starts lap 50, we have 3 laps to go. Alizzi's just going to have to do his best and put on a impressive display of defensive driving, as he wants to maintain his P4. And I will say, I mean, looking at some of the other drivers, I mean, a lot of drivers are going to get very good results here. Actually, Lopro being one of them. That Lopro has 9 points on the year, and those 9 points he got from last week in China. So that's really going to benefit him very much. And I mean, same thing with the other Alpine of Project Race. He had a fantastic qualifying in China. The race didn't necessarily pan out as much as he probably wanted. He only gained 1 point from China, so he's also tied with 9 points. So this race will definitely be a boost for him as well. And I mean, you can't knock the 2 McLarens as well. Both Bananarama and Spikes being right now both P6 and P8. They will claim points not only for McLaren, but they both will claim their first points of their first championship points of the season. And really, that is what you want to see. You want to see your drivers improving. 2 laps to go. Vide leading with roughly 9.5 second gap. Illyrian actually broke DRS range. So after all this trying, Merakis just couldn't overcome the default setup, and he ends up losing DRS as Illyrian is going to try his best to secure P2 and, I mean, do his best to not get any penalties. And Merakis maintaining a lead, a 6-second lead over Alizzi. But this is still the question. Low Pro, he's the next threat to Alizzi. Is Banana or from Banana to AQT, they have penalties. So realistically, unless they overtake and get a huge gap, they're not going to be able to hold those positions. So for Low Pro, this is the gap is closing. If Low Pro wants to get P4 and steal it away from the Haas driver, it's really coming down to the wire if he's going to be able to do it. There is still DRS. Banana's still within DRS behind him. I mean, he's trying. You can see the DRS and ERS helping to catch up, but just so far, he's just not been able to use that. As we do start the final lap, as Vide does come across the line with a 10-second gap over Illyrian. Just absolute domination from Vide today, and that is definitely a good result that he is going to want to remember. But now, actually, look at this. Merakis actually did get back into DRS range. I mean, he's doing his best. I mean, you can't say really much else other than that he is doing his absolute best, even getting back in within DRS range as he's trying to chase down Illyrian. But there's still just, I think this is just the one question, is Low Pro has a sector and a half to see if he can make any last ditch moves against Alizzi to try and steal away P4. I mean, you can see how close they are. But first, we got to give him his flowers. Disappointment on Australia. Maybe disappointment in China. There is no disappointment here in Silverstone as Vide wins the 100% Silverstone Grand Prix here in Division 1. Illyrian will be able to hold on. As you can see, Merakis chasing him down. It's an Illyrian P2, Merakis P3. Alizzi coming to the line, and he's going to be able to hold on as well. Alizzi P4, Low Pro P5. And we'll see how the penalties stack up as Banana will get right now in P6, Project P7, Spikes P8. We'll see as Pool Diver now coming across the line right now in P9. We will see where Ricky will pull in. We'll see if he does not gain despite the penalties. But now we'll see AQT does have penalties and Wildcat caught up. So it looks like Wildcat will move up, and they will. Wildcat will claim P11, AQT P12, and then Money will go ahead and round out the grid and finish in P13 with the fastest lap. A fantastic race. And I mean, utter domination from Vide himself. I mean, you can't say much more. Just absolute domination. You can see the driver celebrating. I mean, if you're Vide, you probably got to feel good. I mean, maybe probably not the greatest start that you could have had, especially concerning Australia DNFing in the first race. But a fantastic job to climb back and win, not only for yourself, but for Team Alpine as well. Now we'll go ahead and look at this. Merakis does get driver of the day. Your winner is Vide. Money will have the fastest lap. Illyrian does get most overtakes. And the cleanest driver goes to Low Pro. So Low Pro also gets the cleanest driver as well. And we'll go ahead and round throughout the grid right here. Vide with the race win here in Silverstone. Illyrian in P2, Meraki Dawn P3, Lizzie P4, Low Pro P5, Banana P6, Project P7, Spikes P8, Pool Diver P9, Ricky P10, Wildcat P11, AQT P12, Money P13, and then we head to our DNFs, Freed in P14, Joshua Bear P15, 2A in P16, Sparko in P17, Pitt in P18, and then Harold, who did not start the race, DQ'd, finishes in P19. So we'll go ahead and we'll switch over. We can see if our drivers have joined, if we can get our top 3 into the comms box for race interviews, if possible. We'll see if we can get our top 3 here in the Discord in the live comms box. And there we go. We have our race leader, and we have Illyrian right now as well. We'll see Meraki Dawn join in more than likely as well. So there, we will make sure if you guys can hear me.
Yep.
Alrighty, awesome. So Vide, we'll go ahead and start with you. Absolutely congratulations on the race win. I mean, finishing 10 seconds ahead of second place is definitely no small feat. And I think most impressively, you did it on the one stop. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it feels good. I wasn't thinking this race will go as well as it did. I was like, I would be happy if I got like P4, P3, because yeah, I don't know, it just feels good.
Yeah, that is definitely, I mean, you should feel good. You did it. You had an absolutely amazing race. And I mean, you said that the race definitely went better. Did you go into this race even considering the one stop, or did it just kind of happen as the race went on?
I was thinking of a one stop because when you pit in this track, it takes like 25 seconds in the pit lane, and I don't wanna. And like that much time and just do it like everybody else do, and just wanna compromise and do my own strategy, and I think it works.
Yeah, and I think that I can agree with that like making your own strategy and doing, I mean, that's what I said during the race, is that I think one thing you did fantastically was that you race to your own strategy. You didn't try to do too much. You just did what, I mean, you did best at. And I guess one last question before I let you go. Do you have any shout outs that you would like to say for the stream?
I want to give a shout out to you for making these races so much better to watch and race. So yeah, and to the league, it's amazing league.
I can definitely say that I can speak for all the commentators and for all of the admins that we definitely appreciate hearing you say that. So I will let you go, and congratulations on the win, Vide.
Yeah, thanks.
So next up, I will go ahead and ask Illyrian in P2. How are you feeling right now?
Obviously it's P2. I mean, obviously everyone here is out here gunning for P1, but at the end of the day, P2 ain't that bad. But to be honest, considering fucking, apologies for swearing, Meraki Dawn had no setup. I can't lie to you. I just want to say GG's to Broski because he did a mega job today. And a mega job to Vide because he just blitzed everyone today. I couldn't believe like the gap that I saw at the end, but he deserved it. And I just had no pace, so I'll take P2, bro. Be honest.
Yeah, you probably feel very good. And I mean, whenever we get to Potato, I'll definitely ask him about the setup. But I will ask for you. I mean, you always kind of had almost the entire race, even from the very start, you had Potato behind you. Did that kind of add any sort of urgency, especially at the very beginning when you had to work your way up to the front of the field?
I think, you know what, to be honest, I don't know if Merakis will say the same, but I've made a mistake because I wasn't supposed to start on flipping softs. I wanted to start on mediums, and I just completely forgot like an idiot. I think a couple drives, I even think my teammate forgot to put mediums on as well, so it caught everyone off guard. So it was a bit like, everyone knows, for me, I struggle a lot because of, obviously, with no ABS, I burn my tyres a lot more than everyone else. So for me, especially on the softs, like Merakis, he knows how to save his tyres way better than me. So for me, I would always have a disadvantage. So yeah, I had to pit early and then done the double hards and yeah, P2 at the end, so can't really complain.
Yeah, I was going to say that you, despite all those difficulties, that you did end up getting P2. And I mean, you definitely showed that you were able to keep pace and keep second place. Because I mean, you and Potato were fighting the entire way through the entire race, but you'll like to see that. And my last, I should say second to last question. So with that second place finish, I believe going through this, you have moved up at least to P3, possibly P2 in the standings, just behind Merakis. Was this a fantastic, or how do you feel knowing that you got P2, because it really helps you in the Drivers' Championship?
I mean, who's ever leading the championship, as long as you finish ahead of them, that's what counts, to be honest, in my opinion. But I only gained, I don't know how many points I really gained on him. I think it was like just 5 points. Like we all know, there's a lot of races to go. As long as I'm eating up on these points, that's all that matters. But today, I've got to say, I got a bit lucky because Silverstone ain't really my strongest, but to have someone with no setup right behind you, it is a bit concerning. However, as long as there's rain next week and moving forward, I'm ready to race everyone. But until then, I'm just hoping that, for example, even for next week, I hope there's a bit of rain because we've been so unlucky with no bloody rain.
And you know what's funny is that actually before the race, 2A in the Division 1 chat actually wished for rain. Unfortunately, it didn't come for this race. Last question, same as always, is there anyone that you would like to shout out for the stream?
Shout out to you, my bro. Shout out to Div1 for mega job today, for blitzering everyone, and shout out to Merakis, to my teammate, to my TP, and shout out to everyone.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Illyrian, and I think, like I said, from all the commentators, we definitely appreciate you, Vide, and Potato, providing us with very, very good racing. And yeah, so I'll let you go, Illyrian, if you need to head out, but thank you, and congratulations on the P2.
Appreciate it, brother. Take care.
So now to our third place finisher on the podium, Potato. I think we all know exactly where we're going to go with this. When exactly in the race did you realize that you didn't have a setup on?
At the start.
So you knew right from the outset that your setup was not right.
Yeah. I was looking at I was at like 3 seconds before the thing started, and I was like, "There's no qualifying, huh?" And then it clicked, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't do a setup at all." And then so I'm like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, 2 hours, 2 hours." And then the lights go out, and before the lights go out, I'm flicking through my MFD, and I look at my diff's at 30, so it's just fully in my brain like, I have no idea what setup I'm running. And then so it starts, and then it goes, and then I'm just like, oh man, and then everybody's pulling away from me. I'm just, I don't even know. It was crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say that very impressive to you that you were able, despite those difficulties, that you were able to overcome them and still get P3. I kind of noticed that I felt like you were kind of trying to push it to the limit. Did that safety car end up really helping you because you were able to get a little bit closer to the rest of the field, like the rest of the grid? I believe you're still muted. Potato? You still there, brother? Oh, Potato had to leave, so maybe he had to leave anyway. Or
I am so
there he
sorry.
is. There he is. No, you're all good. Go ahead. My bad.
Could you repeat your question? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I get technical issues. I was just gonna say that, like, the safety car coming out definitely bunched everyone together, and especially halfway through the race. Did that kind of help mitigate the setup problems that you had before?
No, it actually made them worse. I down-clicked my front wing a lot because I'm pretty sure my wings were 23-23 because the default setup is that they're always even, and I went down to 15, so I'm like heavily understeering, and then so literally every corner I was taking, I was understeering. I would always wash out, and then safety car came out, and I was just there, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so fried. And then so I just made it work. I was just slowing down a tad bit earlier for most of the corners just so I can get the front end to bite a little bit more. But it helped a little bit because it brought Illyrian closer to me and then anybody that was in front of me closer to me. And all I really need to do is just apply pressure and then watch them crumble, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is that you did better than I probably ever would if I was put into the same position. But definitely, like, congrats on you being able to get the podium despite the difficulties. Last question before I let you go, before we end Division 1. Do you have any shout-outs that you'd like to say for the stream?
You already know. Shout out to you. And then big shout out to Vod. He deserved the win today. I made a stupid mistake, and it was a deserved win because, you know, Australia basically murdered turn one. I still have that on video. And then China, I don't know what happened in China, but, you know, it's a deserved win. You know, he deserved it. He put in the work. He was consistent all race. So big shout out to him. And then Illyrian for keeping me in his DRS. Big shout out to him. And then, yeah, that's really all I can give shout outs to.
Well, hopefully for the next race, we won't have as big of an issue with the setups, but I mean, who knows? But congratulations on P3. I'll let you go. We have another race incoming, everyone. Division 2, another Silverstone 100% distance race. Thank you guys if you want to tune in for Div 1. Thank you to all the drivers. Thank you to Vide, Illyrian, and Potato for coming in and doing the interviews. Stick around here in the stream. Division 2 will be underway here in about 10 minutes time. So stick around and we will see you there and we'll prepare for another race.